break and continue. Now, let us say you guys are like, trying to work hard, study. Every day you are doing this, like, you're on a loop. Wake up, study, do again, study, sleep, wake up, study, sleep. Okay. You will be doing until you write one exam. So after writing an exam, you will still continue doing the same process, or you will like, break doing that process. Maybe you want to do something else now because the whatever the condition that you were looking for has been achieved, which is the exams. And after that, will you still continue doing the same thing, or you want to do something else?
We do something else.
Right. So because the one that you are trying to look for has been accomplished, and thereafter you don't want to continue doing the same thing, so you will take a break. So once you say break, that loop will be broken. Once you take that break, that loop of waking up, steady sleep, waking up, steady sleep is basically broken. So you have something else now, right? In the same way, in program, when we are looping uh, at certain number of times, and you would be checking for certain condition in every loop, in every iteration. In every iteration, you will be checking for certain condition. The moment you achieve that condition, the moment that condition becomes true, then we will break. Then you don't want to continue looping it. You don't want to continue looping. And then you can just there is a statement called break, using which you can stop the looping. You can stop the loops. So what do we mean by break? Right? It terminates the iteration. It terminates the iteration or loop.
Loop.
Okay, it just breaks. I mean, it doesn't loop anymore. It just breaks the loop. Okay, that's why it is called break, right? It terminates the iteration or loop. So for example, so if I have written for in range of 2, say 10, print I. So this is our regular loop process, right? So now let me just execute this. Right, it is printing 2 to 9. Right. So my condition is like the moment if I equals to 5, if I equals to 5, I want to terminate. So this is my condition. After if I equals to 5, I don't want to continue looping anymore. I don't want to continue looping anymore. And I want to exit the loop, and I want to exit the loop or break the loop, or I stop the iteration, terminate the iteration, right? So this is what it is. Now, if I execute this again, if you see 2, now it is checking 2 equals to 5. No, so it will continue. I mean, the loop will continue. Then 3 equals to 5. No, so then the loop will continue. 4 equals to 5, 5 equals to 5. Then the moment the 5, the fifth, the iteration number 5, where the I value is 5 and it is equal to the number that I'm looking for, what am I doing? I'm terminating the loop. I'm terminating the loop. So how am I terminating the loop? Using a built-in keyword called break. Using a built-in keyword called break. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Clear, sir.
Break means terminate the iteration. Right? Come out of the for loop. You are not in the loop anymore. It has come out of the loop. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Clear, sir.
Right. Now what I'll want, we'll see, like, we'll just for I in range of 5, I'll just, so we'll try out like, 3. We want to iterate for 3 times. We want to iterate for 3 times. 0, 1, and 2. Right. Now what I'm going to do is command is equal to input of, enter the command. Okay. And if command equals to exit, or command equals to quit. Okay. Then what are we going to say? Break. Going to say print. Command is to terminate the loop. Okay. Now let us save it. Okay. Going to print. Okay. So let me run this. Okay. So enter the command. It is waiting. So what am I going to say? Hello. So no problem. It is not equal to exit or quit, right? So it will command. So enter command again. So I'm going to do this test. Enter command again. Test. So we asked for it to loop for 3 times. It did loop for 3 times. Yes. It asked the command 3 times. Now let me rerun this. And this time what I'm going to do here is, okay, enter the command. So I'm going to say test. So it will continue. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say exit. That's it. Right? Did it ask for anything more? It said command is exit. Command is to terminate the loop. And right. So for the very first iteration only I'm saying quit. Then command is quit. Command is to terminate the loop. Done. Did it ask anything else? Did it loop further?
No, sir.
Right. So that is the purpose of break. So when you will be checking, so when you are iterating in the loop, so iteration 1, iteration 2, iteration 3, and so on. When you are iterating, you are checking on a particular condition. When that condition is met, when that condition is true, then you want to stop the iteration. Then you want to break it. Right? So that is when we use the loop, and that is when we want to break the iteration. So this is very important concept. The keyword you have to remember, if you want to terminate the iteration, you have to use break. You have to use break. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir. All right. So now the next command that we will be looking at is continue. The next command that we'll be looking at is continue. I will just comment out the code that I had written here. That way I'll not execute them. So this is a multi-line comment, right? So I can use a triple quote. Okay. Now what is continue? So continue just works like this, right? So continue, we are iterating through certain number of iterations, and we are executing, like in every iteration we are executing, let's say 10 lines of code. Okay. Now break is to terminate the iteration, as terminate the loop. Okay. Continue is to skip the current iteration. Continue is to skip the iteration. Skip the current iteration. Okay, we have to be very clear here. We are skipping the current iteration. Then okay, so now okay, so your loop, so you let us say your code has so for example, let me go here for in range of 10. I'm just saying print current iteration is, and I'm just going to say I, and I'll use a F string to format it. Okay, and after this here what I'm going to say for in, for any given number, we'll see like, whether it is a prime or not, whether it is prime or not. Okay, for in range of 2 to I. So since now here I'm writing a loop within a loop. So there is a outer loop here, right? I'm writing another loop. So say I cannot use the same loop variable. So here I'll use it as a j 2 to I. Right? Whether I want to check like, whether this number is a prime or not. Okay. Right. So for j, if j mod okay, n mod j, so which is I mod j equals to 0. Okay, right? It is so I'm going to take is underscore prime equal to false. Okay, so it is what I'm saying, it's not a prime, or let me just say it as true. And if this condition is met, I'm going to say is underscore prime is equal to false, and I'm going to say break. Right? There's no point proceeding further. So if is prime, print I is prime number. Okay, else this is a simple prime number program. Okay, now what I'm trying to do here is for every number I'm checking whether it is a prime or not from 1 to from 0 to 10. So let me just say 1 to I'll start on 1. Okay, so from 1 to 10 we are checking if it is a given number is a prime or not. Okay, let me execute it. So if you see here, 1 is a prime, 2 is prime number, 3 is prime number, 4 is not a prime number, 5 is prime number, 6 is not a prime number. Right, you see it here. 7 is prime number, 8 is not a prime number, 9 is not a prime number, 8 is not a prime number, 9 is not a prime number. So are we seeing this here? So it is basically telling, right? These are all the prime
Yes,
or
sir.
not prime number. Now, my condition is if I equals to 4, or if or I equals to 6, or I equals to 8. I don't want to run a program to check for a prime number. So I don't want to run a program to check for a prime number for these three numbers, which is 4, 6, and 8. I just don't want to check whether it is a prime or not. Meaning, I don't want to execute the set of statements if the I is 4, 6, or 8. Okay, right now, if you see, right, current iteration is 4, 4 is not a prime number. Current iteration is 6, 6 is not a prime number. Current iteration is 8, 8 is not a prime number. So we are getting these values right now. Now, what I'm trying to say here is, now my condition is that if I equals to 4, or I is equal to 6, or I equal to 8, on these three numbers, I don't want to execute the prime number code. I don't want to execute the prime number code. So on these values, what I'm trying to say here is I don't want to proceed further. So if I don't want to proceed further in programmatic in Python, so we have to use a statement, a keyword called continue. So when I say continue, it will not proceed further. It goes to the next iteration. So skips the current iteration and goes to next iteration. Are we clear? skips the current iteration and goes to next iteration. Okay, so here let us try to execute it. If I equal to 4 or I equal to 6 or I equal to 8, right? On these numbers, we don't want to proceed further with the loop, but rather I want to skip this and go to the next iteration. See, break is basically to terminate the loop. Break is basically to terminate the loop. But continue is to skip the current iteration and go to the next iteration. Now let us try to execute and see if what will be the output. So if you see here, one current iteration is one is a prime number. Fine. One is neither a prime or a consecutive, so you have to handle it separately. Right. Second, current iteration is 2 and 2 is a prime number. Current iteration is 3, 3 is a prime number. But current iteration is 4, but does it say whether 4 is a prime or not?
No.
Why?
Yeah.
Because we have used continue, so it is skipping this iteration. So from here, it is going to the next iteration itself directly. Again, from 4, it went to the next iteration. It skipped the remaining execution. It skipped the remaining execution. Okay, now let us look for 5. 5 is a prime, and for here, as per that, 5 is a prime number. So the next one is we are checking for 6. So if you see here, current iteration is 6, but it is not saying whether it is a prime or not, because for 6 also we have said if I equal to 6, continue, which means skip the current iteration, go to the next one. You don't have to do anything, go to next one. Okay, and so does 7. Iteration is 7 and 7 is a prime number. Again, current iteration is 8, but whether it is not saying whether 8 is a prime or not. Why? Because for 8 also we have added a condition. If I equal to 8, we say continue. So meaning if I equal to 8, continue. Do not execute any further. Just go to the next iteration. Then it went to the next iteration and it is saying 9 is a not a prime number. So do you understand the difference between the break and continue? Break means
Yes, sir.
terminates the loop. Okay, it is not like skipping or anything. It has terminated the loop, exiting the loop. That's it, end of story. Okay, whereas continue skips the current iteration, skips the current iteration. Okay, all right. So tomorrow, again, we'll start our class tomorrow with while loop. So we'll complete the while loop section tomorrow.